It is 2:01 p.m. I'm calling this meeting to order. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, August 30th, 2022. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. I'm joined by Vice Chair Ty Menser, as well as Commissioner Gary Edwards. We'll start this meeting off with a Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Commissioner Edwards.
And Madam Chair, I in turn am going to talk Rob Pogue from the Offutt Lake Resort. He's kind of the voice of Offutt Lake, and I've asked him if he'd lead us in the pledge. Rob, go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Commissioner Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples who have lived, whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, August 30th, 2022 agenda. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the proposed agenda for Tuesday, August 30th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next is the approval of the board meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2022. Is there a motion?
I move to approve board meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Before we start on our presentations, I just want to let the public know we do have 2 public hearings starting at 3:30, so I will be passing our general agenda to address those public hearings. The 2 public hearings are for the Thurston County Transportation Improvement Program calendar, and also to accept public testimony for an application for inclusion in the open space tax program. So if you are here for those, we will be receiving public comment on those at 3:30. With that, we have 2 presentations today. One of them I'm really looking forward to, and it's from the Sheriff's Office, and it's Sheriff's Office Canine Retirement. So if you'll, Sheriff Snaza, do you want to?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, good afternoon, commissioners, county managers, staff, and public. Kind of a bittersweet day today. It's a happy day, but again, we're sad to see our partners move on to their happy life, I guess we should say. Anyhow, they've been part of the family here at TCSO for the last 6 years as working dogs. They're both respectively, I believe, right around 8 years old. One's 8, one's 8.5, 9 years old. But they've been a tremendous asset to the TCSO family and to the public that we serve. I have just a couple of stats I'll go over here. Just did a quick cumulative combining both the dogs here. They've done in the last, since they're here at TCSO, we've done 392 deployments between the 2 dogs. They've participated in 510 different activities, which means tracking, evidence searches, building searches, apprehensions. And then as far as suspects found or captured, 260 suspects have been found and captured. And they've helped solve cumulative 343 crimes. And these range from violent crimes such as homicide to misdemeanor crimes, theft, and everything else in between. So they have done a tremendous job here at the TCSO family. It's kind of a sad to see them go on, but again, it's kind of like life. You know, I don't want to out with the old, in with the new. We have two great replacements for these
Take
dogs.
exception to that.
We don't want to go too soon. Hopefully it's on our terms, but again, they've been, we have two great dogs, but it's not the Dewdogs Day. This is Dexter's Day and Jax's Day. So I'll let Deputy and Bagby and Deputy Nault say something if they'd like to on behalf of their dogs. And
So we got the best job in law enforcement, in my opinion, so it has been a great honor to have him the last 7 years with us. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of frustrating moments, obviously, but a lot of fun as well. And we'll see how he does in retirement, see if he can relax a little bit.
First off, I'll thank the Sheriff's Office, your staff, and commissioners for reporting that we got to buy Dexter. It's been one heck of a ride. Get appointments, and like Devin said, some frustrating times, and he's excited to be a quote-unquote normal dog now. So thank you.
All right. So I would like to really thank the county commissioners, because although I get to recommend or suggest a retail price for our canines, I really appreciate all the work that the U.S. commissioners have assisted us in with our canine program throughout the years. And the most important part is recognizing that when it comes time to, a lot of times, well, dogs don't know when it's probably time to retire, but what's really awesome is that they actually get a real dog life, or get a real life after law enforcement, and they get afforded that opportunity. And the reason why they do is because we get to work with you as the commissioners and being able to make that happen for our future. So I want to say thank you for that. I want to say thank you to Deputy Bagby and Deputy Nault for your dedicated service, especially through these last few years of trying times. You both have still went out every time you were asked, whether you're on duty or even when you were called to come and do searches or find people that need to be found. And for that, I can't thank you enough for all the sacrifices that not only you have made, but your family has made to make this happen. And so I really wish both Dex and Jax a very happy retirement. And I really look forward to you guys doing some awesome things with your new canine friends. And I'm still hoping that they will get along at the end of the day. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Commissioners, anything you would like to add? Well, this one's are for them.
Boy, how are we going to do this, Madam Chair?
So the commissioners got, from the commissioner's office, we got both of them a little gift just to show our appreciation. And so, yeah, I'll just, we got them, and
We're going to get a photo up there with them by any chance? All right, yeah. So is that your? Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
are you going to bring the new?
Are the new dogs coming in? No.
That would
Okay.
not have been a good thing.
That,
Well, these are for the new recruits.
Okay.
Perfect.
yeah, we'll, there you go.
They already won the gift.
They might know what it is, huh? What the box is. This was news to me that they have a product called, what did you say, Bark Box or something? Yeah. You want your hat? Yeah, nobody will know who I am if I don't put my hat on.
Right.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
Well, you guys go out there and be safe, huh?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Get back to work and make us safe, okay?
The two
Okay,
So whenever.
Congratulations, thank you.
Hey, I'll carry this out for one of you guys. Jeff, you want to buy that one, and then Jeff, you got.
We got plenty of help here.
And thank you guys for being here for that. That was really awesome.
That was pretty exciting. So next, Ben has the really hard job of trying to top that one off. And
Okay, Ben, top that one.
this is a presentation from Emergency Services, and it's Proclamation for National Preparedness Month. Ben?
I dare say, as I believe low man, you would call it, I got to follow this last presentation, so you can appreciate the humor in this as we pivot over to National Preparedness Month. I do want to relay a couple thoughts regarding this as we go
For
forward.
the record, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Ben Miller-Todd, and I'm the Interim Assistant Director for Emergency Services. Going into National Preparedness Month is an observance each September to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that could happen at any time. One of the best actions that can be taken to improve resilience in a community is by preparing the community for increasing frequency and severity of a variety of disasters and emergencies. This is a nationwide effort, and the 2022 theme is A Lasting Legacy, the life you've built is worth protecting. Prepare for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family. We encourage all residents of our county to prepare themselves to be self-sufficient for a minimum of 2 weeks following a natural or human-caused disaster. County agencies and employees should also be prepared so they can continue to provide essential public services after a disaster and support the county's disaster response and recovery mission. Thurston County Emergency Management has emergency preparedness information available for homes, families, businesses, and communities. A couple of the pieces of information that will be going out this month are a 2022 flood bulletin that will be mailed at the middle of September. There will be coordination with the Thurston County PIO, TC Media, and Emergency Management for video that will highlight National Preparedness Month, and ongoing daily updates on the Thurston County Emergency Management Facebook page. In conclusion, we would like to thank the Board of Thurston County Commissioners for proclaiming September 2022 as National Preparedness Month in Thurston County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Comments? Commissioner Edwards?
You know, I just thank you, Ben, for helping all of us be more prepared should that bad situation develop. Thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
Ben, we've spent a lot of quality Zoom time the last 6 months. Good to see you here. And thanks for your hard work on this.
Yes, I'll echo that. Thank you, Ben. I think none of us ever want to think on when a bad thing is going to happen, but it's good to know that people like you are working on this, working to make sure that we are prepared in case something happens. With that, I am ready for a proclamation.
Okay, Thurston County Proclamation, National Preparedness Month. Whereas National Preparedness is recognized each September to promote family and community disaster planning and emergency preparedness now and throughout the year, and as our nation continues to respond to COVID-19, there is no better time to be involved. And whereas Thurston County has experienced disasters in the past and scientific evidence indicates the county remains vulnerable to natural and human-caused disasters in the future. And whereas over $6 million each year is contributed to the Thurston County economy from sales at farmers markets, demonstrating the bounty that the fertile soils of Thurston County provide. And whereas the residents of our county need to prepare themselves to be self-sufficient for a minimum of 2 weeks following a natural or human-caused disaster. And whereas county agencies and employees should be prepared so they can continue to provide essential public services after a disaster and support the county's disaster response and recovery mission. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims September 2022 as National Preparedness Month in Thurston County with the theme of A Lasting Legacy, the life you've built is worth protecting. Prepare for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family. Adopted this 30th day of August, 2022, Board of County Commissioners.
Put Ben on the hot seat there. Is that what's going on?
That concludes our presentations for today. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. Now, I have the list here. I'm not sure if everyone's had a chance to sign up, but I will call, if you haven't had a chance to sign up, I'll call the the members that are here present, and then I'll move to Zoom. Usually we allow 4 minutes, but due to the fact that we have a public hearing, 2 public hearings at 3:30, I'm recommending that instead of 4 minutes, we switch to 3 minutes. I'm looking at my seatmates to make sure that's okay with them. So the Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes today to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request, pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal, and no electioneering. Thank you so much for your cooperation. With that, we will start with the first person, Robert Wicklund.
Good afternoon. I'm Robert Wicklund. I live at 12110 Isom Road in Tenino. That's on Offit Lake. I've lived at Offit Lake for the first 17 years of my life in the wonderful 1950s and 1960s, a great time. I grew up on Offit Lake. I spent much of my childhood in and on the lake. It was my summer life. I learned to swim in the lake. I learned to fish. I learned to row a boat. I rowed across the lake to visit a beautiful girl on the other side of the lake from Tenino, whose family had built a small cabin on that part of the lake. I went away to school, but eventually I came back and married that beautiful girl and took her away to live all over the country for 30 years. I spent 30 years in the U.S. Coast Guard. Among other things, the Coast Guard taught me how to be a good steward of the environment. After 40 years away, we moved back off a lake onto that small lot and built our retirement home. Now living back here, we're concerned with the water quality and the amount of weeds that have overtaken this beautiful lake. We spend countless hours and energy manually cleaning just a 20-foot section of our shoreline in order for our grandkids to play in the lake without getting all tangled up in weeds. Now, a group of concerned lake residents have been working for several months to study this problem, educate the community, and create a proposal to form a lake management district. The steering group has done a terrific job in this endeavor. It pains me to say that I'm even in favor of asking you to increase my taxes in order to get the assistance we need to clean up the lake. It doesn't seem right that we should have to do this, but if that's what it takes, I'm all in. We're clearly in need of a well-coordinated, thoughtful approach to improve and preserve this natural resource. I ask your support and approval for the petition of the Otter Lake Management District. Time is very important here. We need you to act so that we can begin to improve our lake. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have just Piper. You should go. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Diana Kildow, and I have a helper with me today. My helper happens to be Piper. Piper, would you stand up and show everybody your wonderful shirt? Because she is an official member of the Offit Lake Swim Club. And I have to tell you that this is a very, very important club. Really, it was put together. It was put together by Diane Perlman, and we have children that come and enjoy, especially children even from Scotland come and enjoy swimming in the lake and enjoying each other. So we're really, really pleased. Now, Piper happens to also be my great-granddaughter, which I am so proud of her. How old are you, Miss Piper?
7.
And she is going to go to school here pretty soon.
Second grade.
And where are you going to go to school?
Oxide Elementary.
In Tenino. So she is following along with all of her great-grandparents and her great-great-grandparents who were very, very involved here on the lake. In fact, her great-great-grandparents bought the property at, well, we live at 4021 116th on the north side of the lake. The great-great-grandparents bought the property in the 40s. And they have some wonderful stories to tell. And I was asked to come here to talk a little bit about the history of what's happened on our pristine and beautiful lake. So I'm going to ask Piper to speak just a little bit later as well. But currently, we have 4 generations of people living on Offit Lake. 3 of our children are property owners. And we have just enjoyed Offit Lake for so many, many years. In fact, her great-grandfather, Stan Kildow, was very well known for his work around the community, not only in the landscaping business, but also with the Tacoma, or with the Olympia Highlanders Bagpipe Band. So he was very involved with that. A little bit about the history. As I can recall, the history of Offit Lake is seen through the eyes of my husband, Stan Kildow. We're talking basically about the use of water. Now, his mom and dad, Oscar and Mabel Kildow, happened to have a pipe running into the lake.
20 seconds, ma'am.
And that pipe was to bring water into the house. One day, Mom said to the boys, I smell fish here in the kitchen. And lo and behold, it was because a fish had gotten caught in the intake from one of the springs that the water had been involved in there. So thank you. I did have something I wanted to say, and I know that Piper has something that she wanted to say as well. In conclusion, I wanted to, whatever was said before about commending this committee, they have worked so hard and so long. And I also would like to commend the board here. As says in the Chronicle and in the Olympian, I've read, the staff are working on proposing an overarching holistic study of county lakes to help the county develop its approach to improving and protecting its lakes. I am going to ask Piper, who, by the way, has been wonderful this summer, hauling huge, big wads of lake weeds out of the lake while she's been swimming. So I really commend her on that because she's been really working hard on that. So that has been just great. Would you like to say one more thing here?
Save our lake. I want to be able to swim when I grow up.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll take the microphone.
Good job.
We don't get that very often.
Thank you.
Next, we have Doug Gardner. Thank you. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. My name is Doug Gardner, for the record, and I live at Offit Lake on the north side of the lake. I'm a property owner on the lake, and I'm here today because I want to let you know that I'm in support of a lake management district for the lake. I've been part of several meetings regarding the potential formation of a lake management district, and I want to say that your employees, your county employees, have been top drawer in working with us to try and troubleshoot the issue and get us to this place. Offit Lake has long been a recreational area that's a regional recreation area. It's accessible to Olympia, Lacey, Tenino, and other local communities. It's been that way for a long time, since the 20s and 30s, when soldiers came down on the trains from Fort Lewis to recreate at the lodges. But the lake is changing. The weed is growing. We pulled out what we can, but it keeps coming back. We have an opportunity to work together to save the lake for the region, not just me as a property owner or someone on the south side of the lake. I see it as a regional issue. You hear the expression, think globally and act locally. Well, here's a chance to do that. So I would like to request that you consider and approve the Lake Management District for the benefit of the region, and so that we can act locally. I support the Lake Management District to achieve those goals. And again, want to thank the county. Your staff has been great in working with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Kathy Durkin.
My name's Kathy Durkin. My address is 4346 119th Avenue Southeast in Tenino, and we are property owners on the lake. We are homeowners on the Offutt Lake. We have owned property here for over 35 years and built our home here 21 years ago. We have also been members of the group working to form the Offutt Lake Management District for over a year. When we purchased our property 35 years ago, the water quality of the lake was beautiful. This is not the current case. Over the years, the water quality and weed growth has become a concern. Alodia, pondweed, invasive lilies, yellow flag irises, and other invasive plants have continued to spread throughout the lake. We are desperate and in need of an algae and weed control plan that will improve and preserve the quality of the lake as a natural resource. This is not only a concern for lake owners. Offutt Lake is open for fishing and swimming to the Thurston County residents and public through the Washington State Fish and Wildlife Boat Launch and the Offutt Lake Resort. The resort offers camping, swimming, and boating. Bonson Country also has lake ownership and provides 100 landowners with their families and friends with access to the lake through the clubhouse, private boat launch, and swim area. All beachfront areas have been unusable for swimming and fishing due to controllable weed growth. We ask that you support our petition for the formation of the Offutt Lake Management District when it is presented. The longer our petition is delayed, the longer it will take to improve the lake and return it to its natural balance. Thank you for your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Rick Durkin. You marked no, but I just, no? Okay. Next, Rob Pohl. Did I say that correctly?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Pogue, address 4005 120th Avenue Southeast, Tenino. I'm here representing Offutt Lake Resort, Lady of the Lake Public House, as well as ownership as a landowner and a homeowner on the lake, as well as part of the Bronson Country HOA. These guys on this board, I've sat in with the committee for, probably half the time the committee was formed. They have really spearheaded this project. This lake, we met on these issues approximately 8 years ago as a community. Everybody knowing then that we see this problem coming, but we hadn't really had the efforts and the ability to sustain momentum as a community to fight this. Gary and Diane have been the tip of the spear. Watching this lake turn and change over the years has been prolific. It's been amazing in that 8 years how far this Alodia especially has gone and how far it's taken our water quality out of whack. When you're seeing as much labor is put in physically by all of the homeowners and people around the lakeshore, as Diane put it earlier today, harvesting these massive amounts of Alodia. It's amazing that there's that many man hours already being put in. We need help. We need help, and we're coming to you for it. We're looking to tax ourselves more in order to make this come together. As our community, we're asking you to have the chance to put this to a vote ourselves, to help take care of what we see as part of our livelihoods, as my family. This place is sacred to us, and we mean it. Let us put this forward. Let us put it out to the rest of our community, and let us get to work on solving these issues that have been neglected for far too long now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Orville, sorry. Orville.
That's my handwriting. And Oregon spells that's Hi, my name is Orville Judy. I live at 4130 Offutt Lake Road. And these guys have pretty much covered everything I want to say. I've lived there for 20 years and fish it a lot. My grandchildren, my children, and that lake was a jewel, recognized statewide. Oregon, people from Oregon know Offutt Lake. And like I say, it was a jewel. the weeds are overtaking it. I was out there this morning at daylight, and it's not good. So, and I don't know what needs to be done. I'm not a scientist or an aqua guy, but I know something has to happen to stop it. I went to McIntosh Lake, and there's a sign out there that says, "Welcome to the lake, enjoy your aquatic land." McIntosh is toast. The same weeds have covered it. You can't even get a boat through it. So just any help you guys can give us would be appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Bradley. Melody? No? Okay. Next, Mark Nelson.
First, thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the lake. Really, that's what we're all doing here. We're speaking on behalf of the lake. My name is Mark Nelson. My beautiful wife and I just recently moved to the lake, although I'm a repeat resident, as my family lived there back in the late 60s and well through 75. Like a lot of the folks that are here, you know, it's clearly there's clearly a weed problem in the lake. My wife and I have spent a bunch of hours cleaning it, doing what we can to clear up our dock. We see folks fishing out in front of our area, and you know they catch weeds as much as they catch fish. So it's, you know, whatever we can do to help the lake. Also, that you know, my wife and I are 100% for this LMD. And again, we recognize it. It's going to cost us a few more bucks, but it'll cost all of us a lot of money if Alpha Lake becomes McIntosh Lake. You know, our property values will go down, and, so that's just not good. Let's see here. Sorry, that's really all I have to say. I mean, I'm not as articulate as some of the other folks up here. First. But I'm on board with, we're 100% on board with getting this LMD going and getting it fixed, getting the lake cleaned up. I mean, this is a problem that's mainly probably caused by man and mankind, of fertilizers, all the good stuff that all the smart people tell us about. And, you know, so it's probably our job to get it cleaned up. So anyhow, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, I have Patty McGuire.
Good afternoon, commissioners and everyone. My name is Patty McGuire, and I live on the north side of Offutt Lake and off of Waldrick Road. And first want to say that it's never good to follow children or dogs. Speaking.
You have to follow both.
Yes. And I also want to say that I agree with Piper. I'd really like to swim in Offutt Lake again. This year and the past several years, it's just been awful. And we've been cleaning up those lake weeds, and they're just a mess. I submitted pictures to you with a letter that I sent you a couple weeks ago, if you want to look at those. But I want to say also that I'm in support of creating an Offutt Lake Lake Management District here. And by way of background, I'm on the Offutt Lake Steering Committee and volunteered to serve in that capacity in January of 22. So I haven't been on the committee as long as others, but the committee is very hardworking. And I'm a lifelong resident of Thurston County, and we bought our property on Offutt Lake in 2014. So it's been almost exactly 8 years that we've lived on the lake, but I've long really appreciated Offutt Lake. And for several years prior to the purchase of our property, we searched tirelessly to find something to buy on Offutt Lake. And it was the only property I would consider. And my husband wasn't too happy about that because I was relentless and looked and looked and looked until we found something on Offutt Lake that we could afford. And at that time, it was really a beautiful fishing lake. It was relatively clean at that time. And I have some lovely memories of my family and our dog all swimming in the lake at the same time in 2014. But fast forward to summer of 22, the quality of Offutt Lake has drastically deteriorated over the last 8 years. And sadly, it's gone from a beautiful and relatively clean lake to a weed-filled pond with outbreaks of toxic algae and tons of lily pads. And despite
30 seconds, ma'am. 30 seconds.
Okay. We were able to raise some money to submit to the county for our $5,000 bond, and our steering committee has worked tirelessly with county staff over the last year, and we appreciate their hard work. And we anticipate that you'll be considering our petition very soon, if not today, and we urge your support and approval. We really want to save our lake. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Sally Anderson.
Hi, I'm Sally Anderson, and I have property on the south side of the lake, 4104 119th Ave. So I've had that property over 40 years. It has been a marvelous place to raise children and to swim that lake. And I swam that lake every day for many years. At this point, when we spend time at our home, I do not swim that lake. I rake weeds, and I will not swim it. You can't walk out far enough to get in the water from the south side. So I am in complete support of anything you can do. We want to make sure our lake can remain the pristine place it is. It is beautiful, a beautiful place. And I hope we can have your support in continuing to have it be the beautiful place it has been. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Diane Perlman.
I agree with Patty. It's hard to follow dogs and kids. Good afternoon. I am Diane Perlman, and I live at 4035 116th Avenue Southeast on the north side of Offutt Lake, and I'm speaking today in support of the petition. My grandmother bought this property over 100 years ago. My mom swam in the lake from 1920 and when she was 2 until her death in 2015, when she was 97. My brothers and I grew up swimming in Offutt Lake every summer. I remember never wanting to go home when our vacation was ending and repeatedly saying, I want to live at the lake. Sitting on our dock at the ripe old age of 21, I pronounced, I want to go see the world, but I want to end up here. So that's what I got to do. I retired after 30 years as a public educator in the schools of Oregon and did return to build our house and take care of my mom. That was 22 years ago, and I have lived on Offutt Lake since then. Some of my favorite memories of the decades of living here include our annual family swim across the lake, bribing many young people to swim across the lake with me with the promise of junk food from the Offutt Lake Resort store, watching the return of the eagle population after they were placed on the endangered species list, taking way too many photos of the incredible sunrises of Mount Rainier, the weekend serenade of the bagpipers at the Kildows, when they would host their annual bagpipe convention, and most recently, the lighted boat Christmas boat parade and the polar bear plunge hosted by Offutt Lake. You see, this is about so much more than saving a lake. It is about hundreds of precious family memories and dreams of what we want to do with the next generation. The RCW states, no, I can't see since I'm crying, that's great, what criteria on which you will judge our petition, and we know that it's about financial feasibility and public interest. How do you determine if a proposed LMD is financially feasible? Our 10-year budget speaks to the financial feasibility of our petition. We will only engage in activities for which we can pay when we have sufficient funds to do that. We are asking no money from you. Because we will be the smallest LMD in Thurston County, we will have to wait on an additional year to begin our LMD activities, as sufficient time to generate the funds. Oh, thank you, that's so sweet. I've always been a sympathy crier. Thank you. Okay.
You have 30 seconds, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Public interest as defined in the RCW states that proposed LMDs must be compatible with all existing plans and ordinances, and that the rate structure meets specific legal requirements. Our petition has been reviewed and approved by county staff, and we were told that it meets all the requirements. I'm going to skip that and say, it is my hope that you think about future generations and what your vote will mean to them. The young child who joined us today, we were hoping for two, is the most important reason why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No worries, Diane. I'm a crier too. Next, I have Gary Whitley.
So I'm going to speed talk because we thought we had 4 minutes. Good afternoon. My name is Gary Whitley, and with my wife, Diane, I live at 4035 116th Avenue Southeast. I am in favor of the Offutt Lake Management District proposal that you will soon receive. The Offutt Lake proposal has met all requirements as established by the RCW and successfully completed all the paperwork. So now we ask you for permission to continue the process so voters can ultimately decide whether or not to form an LMD for our lake. The state created RCW 3661 to allow citizens to fund lake stewardship by agreeing to tax themselves and work collaboratively with county government. This is what we are ready to do. And this benefits all Thurston County residents because the lakes are public and open to everyone. They are not just open to lake residents. For my remaining time, I want to talk about 3 big issues for people: assessments, chemicals, and safety. I have provided you with some fact sheets today from our website, and where we have more fact sheets available. Assessments. The overwhelming feedback from our public meetings about assessments was that the lake situation was so dire that they urged us to go with a higher assessment model for lakefront parcels so action can begin sooner. We selected an annual rate of $750 for lakefront property where we live, $62 a month. And being aware of cost prices for people in different economic levels, we chose $70 only for upland parcels. Once the stormwater reduction is applied to the upland parcel, the annual out-of-pocket increase for those individuals is $2.92 a month. Our proposed upland fees are the lowest of any current or proposed LMDs in Thurston County. We felt this was fair and equitable amount to pay for a cleaner community lake that also helps increase property values. Chemicals. No one on our steering committee loves the idea of using chemicals in our lake or anywhere else. I have heard concerns that we're trying to interfere with nature. Yet the truth is, the lake issues we're trying to manage are not naturally caused. We see the lake situation as similar to a person diagnosed with cancer and faced with chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is only used when medically necessary, and then it is scientifically controlled, targeted, monitored, and done for a limited amount of time.
20 seconds, sir.
All right. So in closing, we have done our due diligence, done the work, listened to our citizens, and considered our options. After much research, we have chosen the LMD format as the best fit for our lake, and we are willing to fund it with our own self-taxation. We've done our work, and now we ask you to let us proceed to a public vote on our proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have John Pettit.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live on Rich Road Southeast. I am always amazed to watch people come in groups and droves seeking to get some help because of problems that was created because the county hasn't handled it. And the revenue that the county has is more than adequate to pay for the cost that these people are wanting to step up to. The excuse is, the fact is, 70% of the problems with the lakes, not just Offit Lake, but all of them, is 70% is from the stormwater system of the county. The county should be just paying for the cost. The truth is, these people want action now, and at best case, they're looking at 2 years down the line. You have the funds available to help them now. This is unexcusable that you continue to put this off. You need to deal with it on a more expedient fashion than just letting them move forward. You need to take actual action and help them get there. Now, what I came here to talk about, though, is I'm only going to probably see you now and then probably not for 8 weeks or so because of a surgery that I'm going under. But I did watch the morning agenda setting meeting, and I was impressed. Commissioner Menzer, he wants to make sure we follow the law about REIT. Well, that's good because by the law of REIT, the only use that you can use REIT for is, in fact, for the process of, for being used for projects that are identified in the capital facility plan. There is no provision in the law to use REIT for making bond payments. This is the biggest farce I've ever seen that the county managers have been pushing. My last thing, which I'm going to probably have very limited time on, is I have a very big concern. It's a concern because this year, in April, you approved a hundreds of millions of dollars of contract with a company called Republic Services for the waste disposal. I have found after reading their particular policy for making campaign contributions, they like to campaign to those people that are going to vote for their programs. I see that Commissioner Menzer has received a $1,000 contribution, and they consider it kind of like they own him. They have the right to expect him to vote their way because they contribute to him. In case you want to know, this is a sheet that actually shows their policy for political contributions. And as it says, corporate
20 seconds, sir.
What's that?
20 seconds.
Corporate contributions are made to candidates who demonstrate integrity and other important considerations influence candidates' merits, financial support, include geographical scope, whether the candidate sits on a committee that affects legislation which the company has an interest, the candidate's voting record on the keys issue. You vote for them, they give you money. It sounds like a payoff. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Before we finish public comment, when we get especially courageous examples of public comment, we like to give a county pin out. So the commissioners would like to.
I thought the chair could do that.
Yeah. I had to pull it off my thing because our little box is empty, but we found one for Piper.
There you go.
I'll replenish mine later. We want to get Piper a pin.
So cute.
Thank you, Piper, for being brave and coming up and providing public testimony today.
Might expect to see her sitting here someday.
Someday. Before we move on to the Zoom public comment, I just want to check that if there's anyone else in the boardroom that would like to provide public testimony? No? Okay, so we'll move on to Zoom. County Manager, can you please help me with?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I will call your name based on the order that I see on the Zoom screen. First, I have Ms. Jean Fuller. You have 3 minutes, ma'am. Okay. Next, I have Ms. Renelle Funk. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, commissioners, for letting me speak. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I had clients in my office, so I couldn't make it in person. I've been a resident of Thurston County for 35 years. I'm a former owner of 3 businesses in Yelm, Olympia, and Lacey, and I've been living on Offit Lake at 4231 Waldrick Road Southeast for 7 years. And I have a 2-person sailing kayak. I think many lake residents have seen me out there, and it's getting to the point where I can't take it's a pedaling kayak. So you actually pedal it, and it has flippers underneath that move, and the weeds are so bad I cannot move the pedaling kayak through the lake. And like many of the speakers previously, I'm very sad to see that jumping in the lake is not necessarily an option anymore unless you clear out weeds day after day. I did a little bit of research, and I found out that Offit Lake is only one of 2 lakes in the area that actually has swimming, fishing, kayaking, paddleboarding, boating, and camping, plus a beautiful resort right on the lake. Have any of you been to Offit Lake? Have any of the commissioners been?
Many times.
You should come. It's lovely. Yeah, it's really nice to go to Offit Lake Resort and have a cocktail out on the deck in the afternoon and watch the sunset. I'm on the north end, so I don't get to see the sunsets, but it really is a gem of Thurston County. A lot of people don't know about it. They should come out and visit it. I'm right off the public boat launch. We also have Wolf Haven nearby, which is a lovely thing for Thurston County too. So I'm just here to say that I am here to support the Offit Lake petition and resolution, the LMD. I am on the lakefront. I'm willing to pay the extra money to save this beautiful gem that we have in Thurston County. And I'm the 3rd house on the left from the public boat launch, so I welcome you to come over to my dock and try out my kayak anytime you guys want to and enjoy the lake. And I would really appreciate your support and approval of the LMD petition and resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I have Mr. Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a 35-year veteran. I've been a resident of Thurston County for over 18 years, and I reside in Tangawild, which is unincorporated Thurston County. I applaud for the people of the Offit Lake people to come out and ask for the commissioner's support. But quite frankly, honestly, the state is owned by the state owns a lake. I don't understand why, other than voicing their opinion to the Thurston County commissioners, that they relay the message on to state to clean up the lake and the lake and the lake mess. Here in Tangawild, we have a fictional, I'll say that, a fictional septic fee that all of our sewage from our septic is going into the Woodland Creek, but it's not. And I would think that the Offit Lake people would be getting with the health department of the county to ensure that their septic tanks and charging them fees to make sure that their septics are well maintained. The health department needs to do that as far as the water quality. As far as the water quality is concerned with, I applaud Mr. Pettit for bringing up that stormwater is actually belongs to the Department of Ecology, but for management purposes, it's permitted to the Thurston County to run. So I don't understand why we have like Fish and Game. Somebody just mentioned Fish and Game. Thurston County doesn't have Fish and Game. Washington State has Fish and Game. Why are we spending personal tax dollars on a lake that somebody else owns? It's kind of like the Atrium building that we're spending millions of dollars on that building to fix it up and put furniture into a building that we don't own. This is stupid, and it's just poor management. I also want to say about the rent that you took out for the Veterans Fund for the Veterans Hub, a neighbor of $30,000. It was quite interesting to find that it was taken out of the individual rent fund. And I thought Mr. Ryder, and you can Google it, that Mr. Ryder, he's the
30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds.
The mayor for Lacey. He said that he will pay for the Veterans Hub. Why is it an individual veterans fund coming out of the individual fund for rent for a hub that we pay totally for in Thurston County, so everybody else can enjoy the effort? Thank you very much for hearing me today.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Ms. Kathleen Nolt. Go ahead, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. My name is Kathleen Nolte, and I live at 4647 Waldrick Road. I am here to voice my support for the Lake Management District as well, for Offit Lake. We purchased our home, my husband and I purchased our home in 2008. And the first few years, as you've heard from others, the weeds were really manageable. In the last 5 years or so, they really are not. So for a reference point, in 2021, we removed 3 truckloads of weeds to the dump from our very small waterfront area. And it has gotten worse this year. We're also really worried that the weeds and algae pose a significant health risk to us and our children and grandchildren and pets. We do see blue-green algae pretty frequently on our shore. To our knowledge, we've not ever had a notice from the health department that the algae is present. And we understand that animals and people should stay out of that water and the fish should not be consumed. However, it is obviously in the public's best interest that that gets monitored more stringently, because at this point, people are fishing from outside of the lake property. They are eating and consuming those fish. And I think from a public interest perspective, it's pretty critical. I've also been involved with the Offit Lake Steering Committee, and our committee has tried hard to be really inclusive of all the different perspectives we've heard. We've had community meetings. We have had petition signing meetings. We've held a separate meeting with one of the HOAs when they had concerns about the committee itself. The formation of an LMD is not easy. It takes extensive negotiation, coordination, education. We really want to be part of the solution. We know that there will always be a certain upkeep from lakefront property, but we also know that we can provide other opportunities, such as education to our fellow community members. And we believe there are things that we can do to make the community better as a whole. We hope you support Offit Lake's petition for the formation of an LMD, and we thank you so much for your participation and for your opportunity. And thank you so much for the opportunity to provide input. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I have Ms. Rebecca Pogue. You have 3 minutes. Okay, moving on. Next, I have Mr. Todd Gibson. Okay, next I have, the last name is truncated. No, I think it's Jerome from the Jolt.
It's from media.
So is a reporter, I assume. And the last person that I have, at least from my point of view, is Andrew Gaffney. So that will conclude public testimony, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you who came and provided public testimony today. Next is County Manager's update.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't have any specific updates, but considering the public testimony today, the Board of County Commissioners did review the petition to form the Offit Lake Management District maybe a little over a week ago. And the board unanimously provided a direction for its staff to bring that resolution for consideration here in September. I believe it's in the 13th or maybe on the second meeting, third week in September. But the board will be considering that resolution in next month. So I just want to give you an update on that. That's all I have, ma'am.
Thank you. And Diane and Gary, I know I've had contact with you. I'm happy to send you the exact date. I'll have my assistant do that. Okay. Commissioners, any questions or comments for the county manager?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay. With that, our next item on our agenda is consent items A through G. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve consent items 3A through 3G.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This is a non-debatable motion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Aye. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to department items on page 3. Item 4A from the Commissioner's Office, Create Fund 2022 debt holding.
Thank you, Commissioners. Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell here today to request that the board consider the establishment of 2 funds. On June 21st, the Board of County Commissioners approved Resolution 16167, which authorizes the issue of tax-exempt general obligation bonds. One of the legal requirements is to establish dedicated funds for the management of the bonds. The first item before you establishes the 2020 Bond Holding Fund. This fund will, or rather we will deposit into this fund the proceeds from the issue of the bond. So when we receive the $50 million from the bond issue, it'll go into this fund, and we'll use the fund to track expenditures, to ensure that we meet spend down and arbitrage requirements, and we anticipate issuing the bonds in mid-September. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about the bond holding fund.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, I do have a question. You said that there would be money coming from bond sales, possibly, but I thought there could be other money that could go into this fund as well, grants or such.
No, not into this fund. And that was part of our conversation this morning. We can get grants, and other sources of funds may come to support the purpose for which we're issuing the bonds, which is the work on the buildings here on the courthouse. But they would not be deposited into this fund. If we receive grant money, it would go into one of our capital construction funds. This fund can only be used to deposit the bond proceeds and then the paying out of the bond proceeds, so that we can track the IRS requirements that ensure that these continue to be tax-exempt bonds.
Okay, could I ask a question about the next one coming up, because they're similar?
Do you want to wait until that one is presented, or do you want to
Well,
ask?
my vote's kind of hanging. Is that okay if I ask that question?
Go ahead. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Fine,
Okay,
fine
okay,
with me.
I'm okay with it,
I've
yeah,
not
go ahead.
presented the item yet, but I'd be happy to answer any
Okay,
questions
what
you
I'm
have.
wondering about is the other fund, is that going to take other monies, or is that just this bond issue as well?
So both of these funds are directly related to this bond issue, only this bond issue. So the bond holding fund, the first fund, that is where we receive the proceeds from the sale of the bonds, and we have to deposit that money into a bond holding account. So that's the first fund. The second fund, which I may as well go ahead and talk about, the second item would establish it's called the Geo Bond Fund, Geo standing for General Obligation, and that fund is used specifically to make payments on these bonds. And the way that fund works is we generally pay bonds on December 1st and June 1st of every year, 2 big payments every year. And when it's time to make the payment, we deposit into the payment fund exactly enough money to make the payment. And that money is coming out of whichever fund the board designates can legally be used to pay the debt. And that designation has been made as REIT 1. And I will, in response to an earlier comment that you received, it's not just my opinion, but you have received legal clarification from both our own attorneys and your bond counsel and bond advisors that REIT is used across the state to pay bonds. It is a normal use of REIT. So the REIT 1 will be deposited into the Geo Bond Fund to make the payments, just enough time every time to make the payments.
If other money comes in, it would not go in either one of these funds if we got grant money or something? That's.
And are you talking about grant money that would be used for like replacing a roof or HVACs in these buildings?
Yes, any of this project, I guess.
Yeah. No, it would absolutely not go into either one of these funds. It would go into a construction account, and most grants, actually, what it would happen is reimbursement grants. So we would spend the money out of REIT, or we would spend it most likely out of the courthouse construction account, and then when we receive the grant money, it would go into that fund, not into either of these funds.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Somebody left their glasses, but.
They're not yours?
No, it's up there.
Are they one of these?
I had no question. No, they've been there since before the meeting.
Oh, okay.
No questions. I think everything I wanted to ask was covered in this morning's discussion.
Yes, there was a lot of discussion this morning, so if anyone who's viewing this and has some question, please tune into the 9 a.m. agenda setting session this morning. Conversation started around 10:20 a.m., but I'm not sure where.
Yeah, thereabouts.
So like an hour
before 10.
before 10.
I think so.
So
Lasted till 10:20.
Well, it lasted a little longer than I
Lasted
thought.
longer, yeah.
It was a robust conversation for sure.
so with that, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the resolution to create Fund 2022 Debt Holding number 3240 to account for the 2022 limited tax general obligation bonds.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
And I don't want to be redundant, so following up on what the chair said, if you're interested in my confusion, I guess watch the meeting from this morning around 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. With that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, item 4B, create fund Geo Bonds 2022.
Thank you, Commissioner. As stated, this bond, or rather this fund, titled the 2022 Geo Bond Fund, Geo standing for General Obligation, would be solely used to make payments on the bond. And as I said, the money would be deposited into the payment fund just in time to make the bond payment twice a year. It's exactly what we do for all the rest of our bond issues in the county that we have outstanding at this time.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions at this time.
Okay. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the resolution to create Geo Bonds number 2340 to account for the 2022 limited tax general obligation bonds.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next is Emergency Services, item 5A. FEMA Public Assistance Grant Agreement, D22-255, funding for the January 2022 flood response. Ben Miller-Todd, our interim Emergency Services Director, is here to report on this item.
Thank you. And just for clarity, Interim Assistant Director. This is for the FEMA Public Assistance Agreement for January 2022. We've seen this a couple times popping up. I just want to be clear for the public that this is two separate agreements, one for January 2020, one for January 2022. And I will again point everybody towards this morning's discussion regarding public assistance versus individual assistance. The Washington State Military Department reached out to Thurston County to advise of a funding opportunity for the December 26, 2021 through January 15th, 2022 snow and flooding event. This grant provides funds for Thurston County for the emergency protective measures taken in response to that flooding. And the term of the grant is from December 26, 2021 through March 29th, 2026. The grant has a match requirement of 90% federal, 10% state and local, where the state will take on 5% and locally will take on 5% of that match requirement. Any questions?
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
Nope, no questions.
Sorry, my microphone was blinking. I didn't know what was happening.
You need this one?
No, it stopped.
Okay.
I apologize. Okay, with that, I don't have any questions as well. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve FEMA Public Assistance Agreement number D22-255 with the Washington State Military Department for FEMA flood response for the term of December 26, 2021 to March 29, 2026, and authorize the county manager to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10% of the final dollar figure. A final dollar figure will be made through amendments for projects submitted by Thurston County and authorized by the state.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Next, item 6, Public Health and Social Services, approval of amendment number 6 to the Washington State Department of Health 2022 through 2024 consolidated contract number CLH 310300, and Ramiro Chavez, our county manager, will report on this.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll take the, instead of Kurt, he's out of the office. Back in January 11, 2022, the Board of County Commissioners approved a consolidated contract. And that is a contract with the Washington State Department of Health. And that created the umbrella as to how the county can receive dollars to really support public health services and all the services they would deliver under the public health umbrella. So you have approved so far 5 amendments that really is what's bringing money, state and federal money, to conduct activities on their public health. This particular request is amendment number 6 to receive an additional $2,645,000 with a total combined amount of the contract of $11,993,056. This particular amendment is really to fund activities encompassing the foundational public health services and public health. And that includes continue to respond to the pandemic, as well as assessment of many different areas of disease control, hepatitis, case investigation capacity, tuberculosis, climate change response, as well as toxicology and environmental epidemiology, system-wide data management and improvements, among many other activities related to this particular funding. Barring any questions, I will ask the board to consider approving this amendment number 6.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No questions.
Okay, I am ready for a motion.
I move to approve amendment number 6 to the State of Washington Department of Health Consolidated Contract, CLH 31030, providing an additional $2,645,000 for a revised maximum consideration of $11,993,993.56 for the duration of January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024, and authorize the Interim Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, just for discussion's sake, that it is 11,000.
Is 11 million, is that what it is? $11,993,056.
Did you say 11 million? Did you say 11?
I believe he said 11 million.
Okay, I must have heard it wrong. I thought you said 11,000, and I was like, okay.
I repeated the 993,000 part because I had misstated the 56, so $11,993,056.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't quite catch that. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, we have 3 matters left. They're from Public Works. Let's see if we can get them done in the next 10 minutes so we can move on to our public hearings. First one is item 7A, approve Quality Controls Corporation as single source SCADA integrator and equipment provider for solid waste pumps, upgrades, and improvements project, CP number 91717. Rick Thomas, our project manager. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, County Commissioners. I'm Rick Thomas, the manager of the Project Program Management Office and Public Works. The Public Works Solid Waste Division's Waste and Recovery Center work, Pumps Upgrades and Improvement Project CP 91717, is designed to integrate with the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition SCADA project CP 91726, which is a flow monitoring system for the works pump. The SCADA project scope included the installation of the control systems infrastructure, customized control panels, and associated software. For proper functionality, operation, reliability, and efficiency of maintenance and repairs with the SCADA system, the pumps project must work in tandem with the SCADA system. Quality Controls Corporation, or QCC, is the current controls system integrator for the SCADA project and is the only firm familiar with unique equipment needed and programming required for the pumps project. As the pumps monitoring will be done by the SCADA system, the future pump systems must integrate and be compatible with the existing proprietary custom panels and programming provided by QCC. To ensure timely installation of the pump's equipment upon contract award and in consideration of supply chain issues, QCC will acquire the long lead items needed for the pumps project, resulting in seamless integration. The purchase and installation of equipment and programming by QCC will uphold system compatibility, keep the project on schedule, and preserve the warranty. Further, QCC has certified the county will receive the lowest price it offers on the necessary equipment. Thurston County's internal auditor has confirmed this single source justification meets the requirements of county policy, the revised Code of Washington, and the Code of Federal Regulations. The projects included in the 2022-23 Public Works budget and in the 2022 to 2027 Capital Improvements Program, and is in alignment with the County Strategic Plan Initiative 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community. The Solid Waste Division is requesting the Board of County Engineers approve Quality Controls Corporation as the single source integrator for the pumps project and approve Public Works to contract directly with QCC for long lead items required for the pumps project. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve Quality Controls Corporation, QCC, as the single source supervisory control and data acquisition, or SCADA, system integrator for the solid waste pump systems upgrades and improvements project, CP number 91717, and approve Public Works to contract directly with QCC to furnish long lead equipment items in the not-to-exceed amount of $100,000.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye, motion passes. Next is thank you, is item 7B, Master Interlocal Agreement with Mason County for Transportation Services. Becky, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Becky Kahn. I'm a senior civil engineer with our Traffic Engineering and Operations Group in Public Works. Thurston County and Mason County find it mutually beneficial at times to perform various maintenance activities for each other. An intergovernmental contract is necessary to allow this cooperation to occur. This master agreement before you today will allow intergovernmental cooperation for road maintenance activities, such as pavement striping, pothole patching, and guardrail repair, to name a few. This agreement will replace an intergovernmental agreement originally signed in 2017 that has recently expired. Specific requests for services and associated costs would be negotiated in an individual scope of work document as needed and would supplement this master agreement. So today we would be requesting that the board execute a master interlocal agreement with Mason County for transportation services. And I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No additional questions, thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
No.
Is there a motion?
Move to execute the master interlocal agreement with Mason County for transportation services.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye, motion passes. Next is 7C, set a public hearing to consider revising the speed limit schedule for various county roads. Becky?
Again, Public Works is requesting the board set a public hearing to formally receive testimony and consider lowering the speed limit on 8 different sections of county roads, including 93rd Avenue Southeast, 199th Avenue Southeast, Case Road Southwest, Fish Trap Loop Northeast, Houston Drive Northwest, Recklau Road Southeast, Tyrell Road Southeast, and Woodard Bay Road Northeast. Staff has reviewed the data on these road sections, and the recommendations are based on generally accepted analysis policies established by resolution number 16142, which was adopted by the Board of County Commissioners in April of this year. Public Works has sent letters to property owners as part of the speed limit revision process. Comments received to date were generally in favor of the proposed speed limit revisions, and Public Works expects the proposed speed limit revisions will be supported by residents. Once the public hearing is set, additional outreach to the public will include large yellow public notice signs posted on each of the roadways in question. We will be advertising in the newspaper of record for 2 consecutive weeks, and we will also be posting information on the Public Works website. With that, I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, ma'am.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No.
Okay. For any of the public who would like to, we've had a lot of discussions and work sessions in regards to this, so I'm ready for a motion.
I move to set a public hearing for October 4th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard in room 280, building 1 of the county courthouse, 2000 Lake Ridge Drive Southwest, Olympia, Washington, to formally receive testimony and consider altering the speed limit on various county roads.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye, motion passes. Great job, commissioners. It is 3:30.
3:30, right on
the
time.
button.
So we'll go ahead and pause our last standing item. We will move to, we have 2 public hearings today. One is in regards to the application for an open space tax program, and the other is a Thurston County Transportation Improvement Program. So we will start with the open space program. So It is 3:30 p.m. Community Planning has received one application for the Board of County Commissioners Open Space Program. The purpose of this hearing is to accept public testimony for an application for the inclusion in the Open Space Tax Program. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person, by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings on the left-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Marisa Wiseman, Associate Planner, will provide information on this topic. The board will then hear public testimony, beginning with those testifying in person and then moving to testimony for those joining us via Zoom. Assuming those on the Zoom wish to testify, the county manager will help me read your name out loud. You will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record. The public hearing is now open. Marissa will now provide background information on the proposed application, written comments submitted for the public. So Marissa, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Marissa Wisman, Associate Planner with Community Planning. Today, the board is here to hold a public hearing on the George Open Space Tax Program application. The purpose of the Open Space Tax Program is to incentivize the conservation of undeveloped rural land and maintain it in an open space state. Qualifying properties receive a tax reduction based on the board-adopted public benefit rating system. The board is a legislative authority under RCW 8434 to approve open space applications under 2 application classification types: timberland and general open space, which includes natural resources, recreation, and agricultural lands. For the 2022 process, there is 1 application in review. The proposed property is located on Case Road Southwest, south of 113th Avenue Southwest, north of Maytown Road Southwest, west of I-5, and east of Little Rock Road Southwest in unincorporated Thurston County. The applicants propose to enroll 12.12 of their 13.12 acres in open space under the significant wildlife habitat area and resource enhancement categories, subtracting 1 acre for residential structures and appurtenances as required by the program. The applicants propose to maintain open pasture for seasonal grazing using a prescribed grazing management plan approved by Natural Resource Conservation Service, while improving and maintaining wildlife habitat, which is associated with an on-site tributary connected to Allen Creek. Staff have visited the site and prepared a staff report comparing the property's characteristics with criteria in the Open Space Tax Program and determining how many points the property is eligible for in the public benefit rating system. The George property meets the criteria for enrollment under the open space significant wildlife habitat area and resource enhancement categories for 4 points and a 50% reduction based on the following factors included in RCW 8434 and in the Thurston County Open Space Tax Program guidelines. Supporting documents, including a habitat management plan, were submitted with the application materials. Important species listed in the CAO were documented on site by a qualified biologist. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Natural Resource Conservation Service biologists who have expertise in Oregon spotted frog habitat have verified habitat on site. The applicants propose implementing a conservation grazing and invasive management plan developed with the assistance of the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. The Planning Commission held a work session and a public hearing on April 20 and May 18, 2022 on the open space application and unanimously recommended approval of this application. The board was briefed on this item on July 14 and a hearing was subsequently scheduled. Notice of the board's public hearing was published in the Olympian on August 5th, and in addition, a webmail announcement was sent to the Community Planning Division's email listserv on August 16, a press release was issued on August 10, and notification letters sent to all neighbors within 500 feet of the applicant's parcel. Thurston County Community Planning updated the website with all available documents being considered at this hearing. To date, one public comment has been received on this proposal, which was in favor of approving enrollment of the George property in open space. Thank you, Commissioners. This concludes my statements.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, ma'am.
Okay. With that, we will move forth with public testimony. And is there a sign-up sheet?
Yeah, there is nobody signed up for this public
Okay.
hearing, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anyone?
Anybody in the room?
And okay, let's move to Zoom.
On Zoom, I don't believe it's anybody that I can recognize, just in case. Ms. Rebecca Pogue, are you here to provide testimony on this public hearing? Somebody just joined, hold on.
I've never seen just two little lines.
Is there anybody who would like to provide public testimony related to the public hearing on this open space application via Zoom?
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So I guess that will conclude our public testimony. Next is discussion. So Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
No discussion. The proposal has been adequately explained. Thank you.
Sorry. Commissioner Menzer.
It seems to me that I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed, and it's a good application, so I'm supportive.
Okay. With that, we have two actions today. Are commissioners ready to move forward and close the public hearing?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have a motion to approve the George application. Are we ready to move forward?
I move to approve the George application into the open space tax program administered by the Board of County Commissioners and authorize the chair to sign the open space tax agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, sir.
Earlier, I had asked about maybe the dollar amount that this might affect citizens in that general area, and I believe there were thousands of parcels involved, and they would be basically splitting about $400, and I think Commissioner Menzer penciled it out. It was
14.6 cents
okay
a year.
We'll let the public know this is not going to be a big hit on their tax rolls. So thank you very much, staff, for that. That's it for me, ma'am.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. That will conclude our first public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa.
We have one more public hearing, and it's a public hearing on the proposed Thurston County Transportation Improvement Program for the calendar years of 2023 through 2028. It is 3:39 p.m. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public comment on the proposed 6-year transportation improvement program for the calendar years 2023 through 2028. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person, by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings on the left-hand side. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Scott Lindblom, County Engineer, will provide information on this topic. Assuming members of the public on Zoom wish to testify, the county manager will help me read your name out loud. You will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you are called on, please state your name and address for the record. The public hearing is now open. Scott Lindblom, the staff will now present the background information of the proposal, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board. Scott?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Scott Lindblom, County Engineer with Public Works. The item before you today is the public hearing, as you mentioned, for the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program, otherwise known as the TIP. Pursuant to RCW 3681-121 and WAC 13615, the board is required to adopt a 6-year Transportation Improvement Program before adoption of the budget each year. The TIP, as we call it, outlines Thurston County's future plans for transportation improvements and projects throughout the county. The draft TIP was presented to you in a briefing on July 11th of this year. Adoption of the TIP and the annual road program, which is essentially the first year of the TIP, it allows the county engineer to approve right-of-way plans for specific projects in the TIP and in the annual road program. Once adopted, the TIP is submitted to the Thurston Regional Planning Council for inclusion into the Regional Transportation Improvement Program annual update. Including projects in the TIP allows Public Works to be eligible to seek and secure funding and proceed with work on projects where funding is available. The proposed program has been made available to neighboring jurisdictions, community groups, and businesses, and has been posted on the county website. In addition, a notice of the public hearing and a link to the TIP was mailed directly to the cities and towns within the county, as well as local tribes, the DOT, JBLM, County Road Administration Board, TIB, Intercity Transit, and a few others. In addition, notice of this public hearing has been published in the Olympian on July 28th and on August 4th. The 6-year Transportation Improvement Program is consistent with the county's strategic plan and meets Initiative 6, which is to proactively shape a strong, diverse economy that provides equitable access to opportunity, as well as Initiative 8, which is to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving economy. And I would welcome any questions you or the public might have.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Menzer, any questions?
No, ma'am.
I don't have any questions as well. So we will move on to public testimony. There's no one in the board.
Nobody has signed up. Maybe a general comment, if there's anybody who have joined us via Zoom this afternoon and would like to provide public testimony related to the Transportation Improvement Program, please unmute yourself. You have 4 minutes.
Okay. So that will conclude our public testimony. Commissioners, now moving on to discussion. Commissioner Edwards, we will start with you, sir.
More information, I guess, to come. Is that correct? Are we going to have another presentation later on this issue?
No, we did have the briefing in July. And
that's going to be the briefing.
Yeah, that was the briefing. And throughout the budget deliberation process, the budgets will be presented for the projects and programs identified in the TIPs. You'll have ample opportunity for the briefing as well as public hearings on those as well. And I should add, we did receive no public feedback.
And we authorize this or vote on this in the December budget?
Yeah, right now it's scheduled for December 16th.
Okay, that's, I guess, what I was getting at.
And it has to be specifically sequential, how you approve the Transportation Improvement Program must be approved prior to you approving the budget.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, so that our next action item is only to close the public hearing. Commissioners are ready. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Scott. That will conclude our public hearings for today. Moving back to our regular Board of County Commissioners meeting. We left off with item 8 on page 5, which item 8A is commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken, as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we will start with you, sir.
No committee meetings of substance to report on. My constituent issues have pretty much been the jail issue surrounding the virus and bookings in the jail and the number of bookings that might be allowed to take place. The Nisqually River issue, and that is about licensing for the Tacoma Power Dam through FERC, and the Capitol Lake issue involved around what's the solution on Capitol Lake. And maybe as a follow-up, I might ask my seatmate if there was anything new on
I'm going to see what I can, I know. The answer is no. If I can track anything down later today, I'll let you know. I'll let your assistant know.
Okay, that's my report, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I ask a question in regards to, you said you've been receiving feedback about, in regards to the jail, and I'm wondering kind of what kind of feedback have you been?
What's the deal? There seems to be some confusion about whether it's policy from our health department, maybe from the sheriff's office. A lot of folks don't have a good understanding for it. And so that's what I've been asked, and I believe we've got something coming up on that.
Yes, sir, if I may. A briefing is coming up before the board with the sheriff's office as well as public health. Will be coming and give you a broader perspective as to how the guidance provided Dr. Adamalik aligns with the CDC guidelines, as well as the Department of Health guidelines related to jails and confined spaces. And also you will hear a little bit of a perspective as to how the makeup or the design of the jail itself also presents other challenges associated with that. So it will be a holistic presentation.
Thank you. And maybe I'd just comment just a little more on the Capitol Lake. Is that okay, Madam Chair?
Sure.
On the Capitol Lake issue, what's the group that MRSC that we get advice from once in a while?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the MRSC, yeah.
Anyway, they had a pretty good article about the Capitol Lake issue that they published. So I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. It's got at least several short video clips that are informational that you might be interested in watching. It has to do with potentially development of a seawall at some point in time in the future to protect the downtown area. And Lot is very instrumental in this process. So I am trying to figure out how building a seawall, and one of the proposals on Capitol Lake is the estuary issue in which the dam would be removed. And those two things, I can't see how they match up. One building a wall and one removing the dam, because they would, it would involve free flow of high tides. And what could happen, prior to that dam being built in, I think it was in 1951, there was more flooding issues in the downtown area, because once in a while you'd have a high tide situation with heavy snow melt and rain. We used to call them Pineapple Express in the day. They were a heavy low pressure area coming in for 3 or 4 days at a time sometimes. And so I was down viewing that dam setup today. And by the way, the salmon are back. If you want to go down, look at salmon coming through the dam down at Capitol Lake, they're there. And there's also about 7 or 8 pretty good sized seals in there munching during that whole time. So if you're interested in salmon, you might see where a lot of them are disappearing right now, right in front of that outflow to the lake. Anyway, the issue becomes quite complicated, and that is my concern, trying to balance that out. And I just thought I'd let the public know that that was the issue. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Munzer?
My activities related to climate change, we did interviews for the climate program manager. I also participated in an event regarding the call for a statewide climate emergency, coinciding with the one we did here at Thurston County. Also 5 commissioner districts. I presented information to a community group Friday, and I've taken a lot of citizen questions related to that issue. And I guess beyond that, racial equity, lunch and learn program, and that was about it for besides my regular committee assignments.
Can I ask about the 5 commissioner, kind of what are the questions that you're getting? Feedback?
Let's see, the questions I was getting were about how trying to remember how it was phrased. It was really about how the rural area, it's really about this question of representation for the more rural areas. Is that better served by one big district that's almost exclusively based there? Is that based on multiple districts, so they'll have the attention of multiple commissioners potentially, regardless of whether there's a little bit more suburban area contained in that particular district? A lot of questions about that, about how the districts would be drawn and how it would then translate into better representation. So we talked about all of that. Mainly supportive. The information that people didn't know about the number of committees that we serve on and how the commissioners could potentially provide more oversight and scrutiny to our individual boards if we had 5 or 6 instead of 14 or 15. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, the only other thing that I've heard along the way is about the amount of, so there does seem to be folks out there who agree we need 5 commissioners, but would like to see us do it in a way that each one is elected by their district, kind of like Spokane. What we would have to do at 400,000, they'd like to see us do that now, and the only way to do that would be a charter. People are saying, well, it could be a very simple charter. You just propose a charter that has no changes but the 5 districts but you have to go through the multiple step process, and there's no control over that process because you elect freeholders and they can start tinkering with other aspects of just what we've gone through 3 times in Thurston County and failed. So trying to educate people about the differences in those 2 processes, that, yeah, even though that might make sense, the process is much more difficult to get there. This process is much simpler and cleaner and easier for the public to understand because you're just changing one thing, adding 2 seats, nothing else changes. So I think people appreciated that education about the processes. The argument about, well, why 5 districts by district, the argument there is about how much money is required to raise. It's very expensive to run a countywide race. There's lots of voters to reach, mailings to do and whatnot. And now you're going from 3 of those to 5 of those. So you need more money. Versus if you had district, each commissioner would only have to reach 60,000 people or 40,000 voters. They could do that on a smaller budget. The concept is you get money out of politics. That's an argument I've heard. But like I say, we can't get there until we either hit 400,000 or we do a charter. And, you know, that's not what's before the voters in November. So just have to explain all that through.
Maybe just to follow up on Commissioner Menser's comments on that particular topic, I also have been talking with quite a few folks, and I will say, oftentimes the way the question is phrased to me, you can tell that they're not too enthused about making the change. Their question is, well, why do you need to do that? You know, and I will say that as a general rule, mostly when you have an opportunity to explain to the voters, then they understand the reason for it. So that's just my 2 cents. I'll throw it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Thank you for that. For my report, I attended Kiwanis as well as the State Auditor's Office Federal Grant Exit Conference. I thought that was really interesting. I have been knee-deep in conversations about redistricting. So we had our redistricting meeting, committee meeting this last Friday, and we had Mayor Wayne Fournier from Tenino, as well as previous Port Commissioner Bill McGregor attend the meeting, and they provided comments. Mayor Wayne Fournier, said that for preference he would like Tenino, Bucota, and Rainier to be in one district together, just because he feels they are a mutual interest community, especially since Bucota attends, goes to their children go to the same school as Tenino. They go to the Tenino School District, which I didn't know. So that was, and so he pointed out to just resources and how they're able to coordinate now, and they wish to continue that coordination and have that relationship with their county commissioners, but they would like to be in one district. And previous Port Commissioner Bill McGregor stated around the same sentiment. So I know we are kind of redrawing new maps, and I've heard a lot as well about the rural districts and had several conversations in regards to that. But again, I would like to invite the public to, if they would like to be engaged, to please come to those meetings or to have a conversation with any of us about redistricting. And, we're happy to accept comment and see, we're trying to make this as open as possible. And then I also did the Partners for Children, Youth, and Families Steering Committee. There was new data presented, and our numbers are still above the state average when it comes to child abuse. And we were having conversations with Prosecutor Christy Peters, and she was telling us, sometimes that's not a bad thing, because what's coming from that data is that it's being reported more in Thurston County. While in other places, maybe it's going unreported. Here it's being reported. So whatever outreach we're doing is the right one, and we should continue to do it, because it leads into more child abuse prevention and getting the information out there, and having more community partners such as our pediatricians. And we were talking about the possibility of having intercity transit as they deal with a lot of the public, and seeing if their staff can be trained to notice signs. So just a lot of great conversations on that, and a great plan to come. That is all I have to report. With that, we will move.
Could I get just one more, because I didn't hear it mentioned here. I thought maybe somebody else was going to mention it.
Go ahead.
But on Monday, I attended the Washington State Economic and Revenue Forecast Council meeting through WASIG, and just some good information. It is recorded, so for anybody that wants to listen in, I don't know, if I had to encapsulate it, I would say be cautious was the message.
Okay, I will tune into it. I was at the Kiwanis meeting.
We're tied up with interviews for the climate coordinator.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 8B, the county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of August 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will go through your combined schedule for the next 2 weeks, considering the Board of County Commissioners meeting scheduled for September 6th has been canceled. And the appointments that I will be highlighting is where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars, so those will not be part of my report. Nothing for the rest of today, Tuesday, August 30th, tomorrow, August 31st. 1 in the afternoon, you have been invited to participate in a retirement celebration of Julia Carruth. She works for financial services, and she has spent close to 38 years of service here in Thurston. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, 1 in the afternoon. And yeah, kudos to Julia. She has been an incredible asset to the county. On Thursday, September 1st, at noon, you have your standing racial equity luncheon. Nothing on a combined schedule on Friday, September 2nd. Moving on to next week, Monday, September 5th. The courthouse campus is in the Thurston County offices are closed in observance to the Labor Day holiday. Tuesday, September 6th, you have 9 o'clock, you budget review work session, and I believe Robin Campbell will walk you through. That's a requirement. That particular meeting needs to occur on that day, and that will set the stage for the following meetings that you have for the rest of the year, pretty much, on budget-related matters. 1 in the afternoon, you have a special Board of Health meeting where you will be holding interviews related to new members that might be considered to join the Board of Health. On September 7th, Wednesday, you have an all-day budget session until 2:30 in the afternoon. And at 2:30 in the afternoon, I have a meeting for you to review the agenda of the Board of County Commissioners meeting scheduled for September 13th. That will give you a little bit of a perspective of what the items you will be considering. Thursday, September 8th at 10 in the morning, you have your regular commissioners check-in. And nothing on Friday, September 9th, I'm sorry, during the day, but in the evening, you have been asked to participate on the annual post-award night with the Lacey American Legion Post 94. And that is going to be held again at 6 in the afternoon, Friday, September 9th, and it is going to be located at 2602 Marvin Road, Southeast in Lacey. And then moving on to Monday, September 12th, you have an all-day budget session. And Tuesday, September 13th, you have your regular agenda setting at 9 in the morning. And then the afternoon, you have your regular Board of County Commissioners meeting at 2 in the afternoon. And you have a Board of Health meeting, 3:30 in the afternoon on September 13th. We just have to see, we'll have the agenda for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions in regards to the schedule? I will not be here on the 9th, so if someone, I would appreciate if they give my regards to the VFW, the American Legion Post 94. And
What time was that event?
6 in the afternoon.
6 p.m. Yeah, I will not be able to either. I have another event.
Okay, I'll cover it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so with that, it is 4:04 p.m. Great job today, commissioners. You're adjourned.